Hello everybody, my name is Darkfaller, and I am bringing you a video on Satisfactory. I'd like to preface this by saying, I'm sorry, I haven't made any videos in a while. I haven't really known I wanted to make. I now have some ideas, and you'll be seeing them in later videos, but for now, I want to talk about Satisfactory's experimental build, and just some of the things I've noticed, and some of the things I guess, like and dislike. So we're gonna kick this off with the big feature for me, which is not that elevator, but the elevator. Okay, here where I have the space elevator placed and ready to go. Now, as you can see here, we have the space elevator. Elevator placed here, looking nice between my storage. You might be wondering, why is it up so high? Well, that's because there is a limit to how high the elevator can actually go. Now my whole production floor here, my advanced production floor, is really, really tall. It goes up to halfway to here and stops. It can't build. Hold on. It can't build up any further. See? And it's like a little bit off from getting to this last floor. But even then, I can do this, and that works, but it doesn't connect the elevators. So you just have one elevator on top of another one, which doesn't work. So as far as you get. So I will say, I love that this elevator can go all the way up, and that's really, really far, leaving me so much room for activities. However, I'm not a fan of the fact that I can't go up as far as I want. The natural limit is maybe not that people only have a certain height, or maybe there's a memory, limit or something. I mean, these can go infinitely between floor holes, so I don't know why this can't, but I don't know, maybe just something there I'm not sure of in the code. But while we're on the topic of these bad boys, we have splitters that can go onto these things, which is freaking amazing, and I love it. Except for one thing. And you can see it all the way down here. I can't place this any lower than that. So I love this because it makes it so much better and cleans up all of this jank. This is my way of having everything, all the production from my current production floor come up, split off to the required floor, but then also continue upward to the next floor. This is kind of a makeshift little mess here, but this, now that we can put them on the lifts, just makes everything nice and clean, which is fantastic. The only thing is, unless I pick up everything off the ground to be level with this, the build kind of slopes down, which I guess is fine if you're into that kind of thing. Me personally, I kind of wish I can just push it, put it down to the floor hole. That way it's leveled. Other than that, I love this. I just wish it was further down to the floor. And I love the elevator. I just wish it could go up as high as you want, no matter how high that might be. Priority merger. I have had absolutely no use of this thing whatsoever. It sounds incredibly useful, but I'm not the kind of person who has any use for a priority merger because I don't have everything going on one singular belt. Everything is spread out evenly throughout my factory on its own belt system. If I had a priority splitter, however, that would come in great handy, I think, in many places around my factory. So, yeah, I think if we're going to have a priority merger, we should have our priority... wait, where's this thing go again? Hold on. If we're going to have a priority merger, we should have a priority splitter, because I feel like of all the things we need in this game, that is what we need the most. Now, something else I just remembered something else, and I'm going to run real quick down to my nuclear power plant to share with the next thing. Welcome to one of my proudest projects, and one of the most spaghetti you'll probably ever see. My nuclear power plant. When I built this thing, I built it with the pack on I have right now, the hover pack. So the way I got in there was down to the center of the hole, and I'd go to each floor by hovering. However, I realized that if I didn't have the hover pack, I'd have no way to get out. And then I thought, oh, if they had an elevator, I could put it down the center. That'd be so great. Or I'd use hypertubes. And then when I heard they were going to add an elevator, I was like, oh, that'd be great. I can just put it right in the center. It's going to look so cool. And just get in the elevator and just write it right down the center of the round platform, of this whole round building. That's going to look so cool. If only it would fit, however. Or should I say, if only it didn't click. Well, besides that, yeah, it won't actually go there. Not only because of the lifts, I can move those easily, but the real problem is that when you go to like move it up, it collides with these. So it doesn't like that. It doesn't like the round buildings where it refuses to place properly. So that's not fun. So what I had to do was to move it to the side of the building, which is less exciting than having a really cool, elevator down the center. Not only can you not put it where you'd like to like that, but you also can't just do it like this, because outside of that belt being there, that's clipping. Let me put it somewhere that's more of a better example. Like here, you'll see that right here. It's also clipping into the curved version of parts of these walls. I feel like the elevator shouldn't have clipping issues, especially at these little corner pieces. I don't know if it's because it's a moving object in there, or what. I think those are the only things I've had to say so far. I know there's some other changes I haven't actually looked into. I think, the hypertubes. How about that? Hold on. I don't use hypertubes as much around here. I only have one hypertube that goes between here and my factory. I only had one issue with my hypertube, was that I didn't have any way to stop at certain points. And with them adding in those hypertube splitter thingies, yeah, this kind of just fixed my issue. I have no problem with these things whatsoever. I will say, for anyone placing these things down, place them down onto the hypertube and tubes, but then delete the things that they're connected to and then replace them, because I've gotten stuck in there a few times. And then we move on to, and I will jump ahead to the hypertube cannon, which I think a lot of people have already probably made videos on, where you can make the hypertube cannon even more hypertube cannon-ified, which you'll see in just a sec. And here we are. The modified hypertube cannon. As you see up here, this is what my hypertube cannon was. Oh, actually still is. This thing is usually able to sling me really far out, but with this extension, I'm gonna call the hypertube booster. I think it's pretty obvious what this thing does. It just you go into the tube, it sends you around, gives you more thrust, and then sends you back out. And I kid you not, I went from landing here originally, somewhere in this area, to landing nearly out here. I think if I kept going, I would have probably landed further than that. And if I had just went through once, hit the E and went through again, I probably would have went all the way off the map. This is probably really scuffed because I just kind of placed it to see if I can get it to work, and it worked the first time. I could probably do better and make it even better, but that's, other than that, that's all I really have. Oh wait, there was one more thing. I think this one probably doesn't matter that much. This thing also apparently works on any splitter or merger. So even the smart splitter works on this thing, and I really love this because this is how I had it before. So I have production over here for aluminum, aluminum scrap and all that stuff. But, I need to keep that production line going, so, nothing. So this over here is still operating like it should, which means I need to sync some items. So that's what this is. This is a way of letting everything that's being created come up, move up to my advanced production line, but anything that is not needed can be synced But doing all of that required a smart splitter, a merger, and another merger, and a few lifts. A bit hectic, for one might say. However, with the fact that we can put the smart splitters now on the lifts, removes all of this and makes it all in one go, and it looks so much cleaner. It's freaking awesome. Other than that, this is all I have to really say. This is all I've used so far, and all I have to show. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Oh wait, there's also a little bug in this build where all my lifts are like facing in weird directions for some reason. Everything's supposed to be facing the current direction you're seeing all the lifts currently. Really fix them, because they seem to just like want to go in their own way.